pass was intended there for A.J. Brown, but intentions gone awry. Drew Lock and the drive comes back to keep Seattle's season alive as they win 20-17 and snap a 4-game losing streak. Joe Musso in studio alongside the two-time Super Bowl champ Bryant McFadden. B-Mac, things changed in a hurry on the tail end of that one, and all I can think right now is Drew freaking Lock. The man balled out when his team needed it most.
Yes, he did.
What did you see on that drive? I mean, he's a guy who plays with supreme confidence at all times, and that really shined through on the final drive.
I saw a player that was playing with a sense of urgency. The same could be said for his entire offense. And then defensively for the Philadelphia Eagles, Joe, I saw a team that was more complacent than anything, more conservative in regards to the play calling and how they were attacking Drew Lock and the Seahawks offense. And then most importantly, too, he started to target the Megatron of their offense, DK Metcalf. When you target DK Metcalf, usually good things happen. That big-time reception and being double covered was a thing of beauty, showing his beast mode mentality coming down. And then when they started to devote more attention to DK, guess what? He went to the first rounder in Jackson Smith-Njigba, a beautiful fingertip game walk-off touchdown reception by Jackson Smith-Njigba. I mean, this was a team that when you look at how stagnant their offense were at times, and then they kind of got Kenneth Walker going in the running game, and then in the fourth quarter, think about this, scoring 10 points. 10 critical points in the fourth quarter alone that led to a huge game-winning opportunity for Drew Lock and Seahawks, and because of that, their playoff hopes are still alive based on what they did tonight.
Let's get NFL analyst Ryan Wilson in the mix as well. Ryan, that's where I want to take you. I mean, in this 60 minutes of football, amazing performance in those final moments by Drew Lock. But in this 18-week season, this keeps things alive for Seattle. I mean, to perform this way with the season essentially on the line, what did that reveal about Seattle tonight to you?
Joe, you call him Drew Lock. I call him Andrew Stephen Lock the First.
There it is.
Know his name, put some respect on it. There it is. Man, he showed up big in big moments. And B-Mac talked about Jackson Smith-Njigba. They had a slew of rookies and second-year players absolutely balling out for him. We know what Ken Walker III did. Zach Charbonnet got a little run. On the other side, we saw Jalen Carter balling out. Sidney Brown was a safety in the middle of the field, the third-round pick who was late on that last touchdown catch by J.S. in there. And also something else worth noting, and in terms of what this means and this bounce back, it feels like, because they had lost over the last month of the season after being 6-3 at one point. But I'll say this: JSN, Jackson Smith-Njigba, was the first wide receiver draft, at number 20, and there was a run on 4 after that, right? Quentin Johnson, Jordan Addison, Zay Flowers. Jordan Addison and Zay Flowers had been balling out this season. We hadn't quite yet see JSN have his breakout game. We'd seen flashes here or there, but this is a statement game for him, and I think it's a statement game for this offense, knowing that they can lean on their young running backs and Kenneth Walker III and Zach Charbonnet, and lean on their young wide receivers when DK's not allowed to get going because of the coverage rolling his way. And I think this is something they can build on, because Geno Smith was on the sidelines, bundled up, nursing that groin injury, and they won with their backup quarterback. And they're going to be in great position as they move forward in the final 3 weeks of the season. If they win out, they are going to the playoffs. Pete Carroll rarely misses the playoffs. He's been that good for that long. And this feels like a turning point in the season for a team that looked lost for the last month or so.
Certainly, because when you say win out, easier said than done, but this schedule easier than some. Titans, Steelers, Cardinals is the home stretch here for Seattle. So this was the biggest Final Four hurdle for them to clear, and they clear it in the final moments of this game. Here's a look at that remaining schedule: 5-9, 7-7, 3-11. 7-7 is the number I want to focus on here, B-Mac, because 5 teams in that NFC playoff picture sit at 7-7. We will delve deeper into the playoff picture here on the other side of a quick break, but I got to stay in the moment with this football game, and we do have to reflect upon what we saw from the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, 3 consecutive losses, this one to an opponent that you would consider of lesser talent than the 2 prior. You're looking at the Cowboys, you're looking at the 49ers. Maybe you can explain those losses here, but you got to go on the road. You got to get right no matter how sick people are feeling, no matter what the issues are. You have to find a win here. What's the flaw right now? They struggle to stop the run at times, but still limit them to about 100 yards on the ground. Couldn't score the football at the rate we've seen in the past. What's the main issue with Philadelphia right now?
Well, the main issue right now, guys, from what I'm watching, is the quarterback. That's the main issue followed by the defense, right? So let's talk about Jalen Hurts. We know who he is as a quarterback in this league. We believe he's a guy that can be a playmaker. But this season, he's been turnover prone. I mean, 2 interceptions. That's the difference. That was the difference in this ball game. Turnovers for one team, no turnovers for the other.
17 of 31, 143, 2 interceptions is the line for Jalen Hurts.
To the same guy. Julian Love was the kryptonite to Jalen Hurts. And you talk about those turnovers, that has been the issue for their inability to be super efficient this year on offense. 8 turnovers a year ago, they were 14-1. 17 turnovers right now, 10-4, 12 interceptions. You talk about these are things that will prevent you from winning ball games. There's, as you mentioned, Joe, losing to San Francisco, granted, they got dominated, but San Francisco's a championship caliber team.
It's going to happen.
Right? Traveling on the road to Dallas. Dallas was looking to get some get back. Losing to the Cowboys in their place. I mean, they're a playoff caliber team. Losing to Seattle with their backup quarterback, and you dominated this game for basically 3 quarters, is unacceptable, especially when the Buffalo Bills gave them a lifeline. Gave them a lifeline. All they needed to do was win to kind of keep their place in the seeds. And guess what? You found a way to lose. And that's a bad sign, and that's a concern they have moving forward. Playing clean football, and then defensively. The secondary, I understand they were dealing with injuries, right, to the guys in the back end. But you have to find a way to get the job done. You have to find a way to get the job done. Where's the pass rush, right? Where's the ability to slow down Kenneth Walker? He got things going in the second half. The holes were open. They got to find a way, number one, to get healthy, but also, too, when they were healthy, they were still having issues in the back end. Those are things we did not see a year ago, and we felt like we would see a change. We should have seen the change because they had Matt Patricia calling plays. New play caller, same song. You got to find a way to get things going because we know they will get into the playoffs, but if they don't get things together, Ryan, they will have a short life in the playoffs.
It's funny you mentioned the Buffalo Bills because while you were talking, I was thinking about Josh Allen when he's at his low point and how that sort of looks like Jalen Hurts. We get on Josh Allen when he's turnover prone because he has so many God-given abilities, and when he's locked in and laser focused, he is unstoppable. That's also Jalen Hurts. And you can say, well, he's injured, well, he doesn't feel well. He's out there, and the expectation is you're going to play as the paycheck that you get every 2 weeks says that you're going to play that level. And I would imagine Jalen would tell you the same thing. He's just not doing that. And you see this graphic here. Josh Dobbs is a great story. You do not want to be in the same turnover graphic as Josh Dobbs, and that's just the truth. So Jalen Hurts has had things not go quite the way they went last year. And look at the 2 turnovers tonight. They were picking on Julian Love earlier, and then Julian Love made that great interception on the deep ball to Quez Watkins in the end zone that was probably 1.5 feet underthrown. That's it. 4.5 feet maybe at the most. He made that play. And then the play at the sideline to end the game, that was a bang-bang play. Julian Love was 2 inches from being out of bounds. If those plays go the other way for the Eagles, we're having a different conversation. But that's the margin of victory and defeat in the NFL when you're not locked in. And every team, and BMAC, your former teammate Amos Derry, we say this all the time, they get paid too. Those guys are playing hard. Those guys have something to prove. They came out there with a chip on their shoulder, and they got it done. And to your point about Matt Patricia having guys injured, I thought the defense was a little better. Julian Love made plays today. Reek Willen was on the bench because he wasn't playing well, came in and went back out. Julian Love did his thing. Artie Burns did his thing. And those are the type of performances you need from players when you're in the last month of the regular season trying to make a playoff push.
This was a 10-1 football team.
At one point.
Now a 10-4 football team, and the inside track to the division title belongs to Dallas. The inside track to the 1 seed obviously belongs to San Francisco.
And think about this. Yes, they were 10-1, but think about some of the lucky breaks they were getting to get to that 10-1 plateau. The first game against Dallas, I mean, you talk about Ferguson being an inch short from hitting the goal line. You talk about Dak Prescott stepping out of bounds. They had moments where things were just kind of falling in place for them. And now what happens, what we're seeing is the rubber is starting to meet the road, right? That luck is running out. The Irish is no longer there for them, and they've been taking some untimely losses. And they got to find a way to correct their wrongs because everyone that they will see in the playoffs, they applaud these issues. They love them. Right? They got to find a way to not listen to the elevator music from the outside of the building and just get back to paying attention to detail and, most importantly, protect the football because if you do not protect the football, you will not get wins.
We will see how it all plays out or if the luck has run out. Momentum exists, and it's headed the wrong direction right now in Philadelphia. Thank you, gentlemen. Plenty more coming here on CBS Sports HQ tonight and on all nights. Highlights, reaction, everything you need in one place on Game Day Scoreboard. When the clock hits zeros following that 1 p.m. Eastern window, we get going. Booth hits. Sound you won't get anywhere else. We're back up after the evening window as well. All day long, keep us on your screen. It's Game Day Scoreboard. Straight ahead, plenty of implication following a fourth-quarter game-winning drive by the Seahawks. Life exists in Seattle and a dwindling hope perhaps in Philadelphia. Playoff picture coming into focus next.